Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Moviesnips. Today we're going to be breaking down the engineer ship shown in the Prometheus movie of 2012, which is known as the Juggernaut. The Prometheus fandom gives us some background on the specs and history of this type of ship, but doesn't really address the finer points of the ship in relation to why it was designed the way it was, what kind of technology it utilizes for interstellar travel, what weapons it carries, and why the engineers hide these ships on certain planets and moons for extended periods of time, just to bring up a few unanswered questions. Before I get further into this, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. The Juggernaut was a large, asymmetrical, wishbone-shaped craft, with thickened central sections between two horns, which bent upwards. It had numerous tunnels that went off to many places. The Juggernauts had three large openings near ground level, between two horns, leading into the interior of the Juggernaut. The interior of the Juggernaut more closely resembled a living organism rather than a space-going vessel, with skeletal walls, circular gangways, and steep passages. This lends credence to the idea that the Juggernaut may be some kind of bioengineered ship, or one that is made out of a combination of organic and synthetic materials. As most of you may know already, the engineers are able to create life on different worlds, and are highly skilled at manipulating biomaterials, so logically, it could be assumed that this ship is some sort of bioconstruct. Even its control buttons look flesh-like and organic. It is clearly of a design that is far more advanced than anything that humans possessed during the late 21st century. The port prong on the Juggernaut measured 161.6 meters in length, and the starboard prong 174.3 meters. The Juggernaut was 116.6 meters wide and 61 meters wide between the starboard and port prongs. Even though the ship was quite large, it was capable of landing and taking off from a planet's or moon's surface in one piece. These ships are also usually hidden away underground or in mountains or in rock outcroppings, as if the engineers wanted to make them seem as unassuming as possible. Perhaps these ships serve a dual purpose, one being a ship and the other being a military outpost that can be called upon at moment's notice to either seed a planet with new life or destroy life on a planet with the incredibly powerful biological weapons that it carries. These ships are definitely formidable and look like they can take quite a beating. Even after the Prometheus collided with the ship head-on, the ship was able to crash and roll on the surface of LV-223 without breaking apart. It's interesting to note that the ship seen in the opening scenes of Prometheus looks very different from the Juggernaut shown to us later in the film. The ship in the opening scene looks more oval and disc-like in shape. Perhaps the engineers have different ships which they use for different purposes, or perhaps the first ship was of an earlier design, as it is implied that the events in the opening scene took place hundreds of thousands or even millions of years before the main storyline. The Juggernaut's bridge equivalent consisted of four sarcophagi, a control mechanism made out of some sort of biological-like material, which is activated through the use of an engineer flute, and a pilot's seat on the center of the bridge. It's theorized by some fans that the flute serves as some kind of acoustic activation device. Perhaps the ship is a living, partially conscious entity and responds to certain tonal frequencies. The pilot's chair almost looks like some kind of cannon, which the engineers use to map out travel routes to their destinations. It is unknown as to whether or not this cannon-like device is integrated with the ship's FTL drive. It is also unknown as to how many crew members are typically required to man the entire ship, though the vessel seems to be able to function reliably with as little as a single pilot. Judging by the sheer size of the ship, it seems that it could have easily carried hundreds or even thousands of passengers. Ships like the Juggernaut seem to be the primary ship used by the engineers for interstellar travel, or at the very least, the most common one used for transportation for cargo, as the interior of the ship is filled with many vast empty spaces. It is unknown if these ships carry any weapons of any kind other than the biological weapons shown in the Alien and Prometheus films. The xenomorph eggs in the Alien movie and the black goo ampules in the Prometheus movie. I wasn't able to get a figure on the speed of the craft, but it is at the very least capable of far-reaching interstellar travel. The engineer's FTL technology is probably far ahead of anything that humans possessed at the time of the events of the film. Whether or not the ship is capable of intergalactic travel is debatable, as the engineers have sleep pods or sarcophagi, which implies that their travel between distant star systems isn't instantaneous. We also don't know whether the ship flies with its two prongs facing forwards or backwards. Perhaps the ship's peculiar wishbone shape is conducive to interstellar flight, as it may allow the ship to generate some kind of warp field between its two prongs. It is also unknown as to what powers the ship, whether it uses some kind of antimatter drive, quantum singularity, or organic power source of unexplained origin. The shape of the Juggernaut is strangely reminiscent of the Ouroboros, or the ancient Egyptian symbol of a snake eating its own tail, a symbol of constant death and rebirth. In the Alien Covenant movie of 2017, we also see the much larger Mother Juggernaut ship, which is docked in the center of an engineer city on Planet 4. This ship is at least 7 or 8 times as large as the regular Juggernaut, but other than what is shown to us in the film, we don't really know the full capabilities or purpose of this ship, or whether this ship is even mobile at all. The Prometheus Juggernaut is actually very similar to the Derelict ship shown in the first Alien movie of 1979, which was the abandoned ship on the moon LV-426. Most Alien fans probably already know this, but the beacon that lured the crew of the Nostromo to the moon was actually a warning beacon for space travelers to stay away from the moon. Because the crew of the Nostromo had no knowledge of the engineer's language or warning signals, they foolishly decided to enter the derelict ship, thereby allowing the xenomorph to gestate inside of Kane. Swiss artist H.R. Geiger, who conceptualized the original design for the xenomorph, also came up with the design for the derelict ship, going off of Ridley Scott's instructions that it should appear totally inhuman and ominous looking. Geiger envisioned a ship that had been grown rather than built, and after seeing the first concept drawing of the vessel, Scott immediately decided that it was the look that he wanted for the film. The name Juggernaut is the anglicized name for the Hindu god Jagannath, the so-called Lord of the Universe, and it's a word that describes a force that is merciless, destructive, and unstoppable. I'd like to thank you for watching my video today. If you feel I missed anything or would like to add anything to this discussion, please feel free to comment down below. Please also remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and please check out my channel for more sci-fi lore videos.